Hi
All right.
Martin, Hi Martin, this is Vinny from Pukunui.
Hey,
I just
Vinny.
want to kind of formally introduce you, not that you need an introduction, and welcome you to this year's iMoot. Thank you ever so much for talking. Everybody's very excited to hear you. If everybody's microphones if everybody's microphones, sorry, if everybody's speakers are coming across okay, then we'll make a start. So thank you very much on behalf of the iMoot team and the Pukunui.
Well, thank you, Vinny. And thanks all the organisers for another iMoot. I haven't had a chance um, to watch much or any yet. I'm absolutely flat out here with stuff. Most of this session is going to be us talking casually and doing some demos. But what I thought I'd start out with is the other stuff, and then we'll get to the demos at the end. So we talk about, give you a bit of news. As you probably noticed, we changed our release timetable. So we released Moodle 5 in May, and the next one's in November. So 2.5 just came out. We've got 2.6 coming up, and I thought I'd just talk about what's in the plans for 2.6 before we get back to 2.5. The major thing that's happened here at Moodle HQ is that we've changed the structures on how we're doing core development now. We used to have a team that was devoted to maintenance, stable, fixing bugs, called Stable, and we had a team that was working on new developments and integrating community stuff, and that used to be called Dev. And we've made a big change now to two new teams. They're called Frontend and Backend for the development, and they focus on the respective sides of Moodle. So the front end is, as you'll see on the next slide here, the front-end team focuses on the user-facing stuff, so all usability type issues, and especially mobile, and features and affordances. So everything that the user uses is the responsibility of that front-end team. And then there's the back-end team, which focuses on more the developer-facing stuff. So everything to do with the APIs on the back end, Moodle as a development platform, and in particular at the moment looking at logging, reporting, performance type things. So that's sort of things you can't see, users don't see so much, but obviously the front end relies on the back end. And we still have an integration team that integrates all that stuff into the Moodle that you get, the final product. And there's one other team that we had more informally before, the sites team, which is now a bit more formal and is about looking after all the Moodle sites that we have and having developers full-time on that as opposed to part-time as we've had in the. Talk a bit more about the priorities of these team months. So the back-end team are focusing right now on the logging project. This is really important to me because for the future of Moodle, I think we need to be focusing on things in the front end that are based on research. We need to be doing usability research. We need to be doing analytics, and we need to be doing them fast and in real time. And to do that, we need fast logging and detailed logging. And we don't have that now. We have very sort of sketchy logging, and a lot of the logging stuff that we have is actually slowing Moodle down because a lot of the features directly access these same logging tables, and it's a real bottleneck. So it's very important to redo the logging infrastructure. And for those who are interested, it's going to be based around events. So every single event that happens on the interface will be logged as an event in the back end, and that event will in turn write something to the logs. The logs won't necessarily be in Moodle, they could be in a separate system. There'll be a system of plugins for putting that data out to another system. And that means you can have analytics and reports running separate to the Moodle system, which quite a nice. This is kind of the base infrastructure for a whole new level of analytics and reporting that will be coming. Caching is also very important for performance. We're looking at, we have been doing a lot of that, we're going to be doing more. Notifications are a big thing that we want to be able to have Moodle, once it has done analytics or once it is knowing something that needs to be done, someone needs to do, it can notify them. You can tell teachers about things that they need to focus on, students they need to focus on, and it can also tell students how their learning's going or anything, due dates and things. So they'll be sending notifications directly to mobile apps. And there's some other stuff about back-end work for plugins that is one of the sorts of things we need to do to work better on clusters. And cloud-type cluster stuff is going to be important for the future so that Moodle can scale to any size. The front-end priorities are these, not in any particular order. The outcomes 2 is about a new integration of outcomes and competencies. It extends the outcomes we already have to something that actually is really useful. Moodle rooms are doing all the work basically, although we've been working very closely together on it from the beginning of the project and with the community on the specs for it. So I'm pretty confident it's going to be good and it's going to fit nicely into core. But the thing about it is that you gain a little bit like badges in a way, but at a much smaller level. Every time you do a quiz question, for example, it can be a small tick against some outcome. And all those small ticks can be rolled up into a big tick against an outcome. And eventually at the top you have competencies being proven. But most of the front-end team right now here in HQ are focused on mobile access right now and improving on how Moodle will work under, how it looks under Bootstrap and how it works. And there might be some quite radical interface changes. I think 2.6 will be quite a nice surprise. It's going to look and work like an app, even though you're on the website. Even a lot more even than 2.5 does now. It'll have proper menus and a real app touch sort of interface. But still using the same theme that gets used on the desktop, so that you only ever do one theme, that it works well with platforms. That's the aim, and the whole team is quite engaged on that right now. The mobile app still chugging along, so the same team are kind of helping with that, but most of it's being done by Juan Lever in Spain. Analytics, once the logging is in, the front team will be working on some of these analytic reports and piping that to mobile. The course management stuff, there's an interface ready to land in 2.6 to improve that. That's about managing lots of courses, not just managing within a course. And all the activities need a lot of work. So you see discussions coming up about forums, for example, giving that a much needed overhaul. The assignment module has been getting a lot and continues to, the wiki, the survey module, etc. Yep. You're hearing me okay? Not very quiet. What do you say, something random? Okay, good. So that's just a screenshot of the current mobile app, which you may or may not have seen, but that gives you a little bit of an idea of what Moodle itself can look like on the web browser, in a web browser. sort of a tablet view, and obviously on a phone you'd only see one of those. So that's the kind of thing. Thank you for the random word, Gavin. This I wanted to mention because it's something that I hope will get into 2.6. It seems very likely. This has been around for a while. Dave O. Smith wrote this assignment plugin, which lets you do full grading online. It doesn't use any Java or Flash. It's images and HTML5. So that means it works everywhere and is pretty cool. The assignments, it can take a PDF and it turns it into images, and then you grade it, and then it turns it back into PDFs at the other end. I would really love to get this into core because, in my opinion, it's a bit of a hole. Currently, the interface looks a bit dodgy, as you can see, but that'll all be cleaned up by the front part of the system. No, that is a plugin you can download and add now if you want to. That's on a plugins database. Now, the other team, which is not one of the core development teams, this is the sites team, are focused on all the Moodle sites. The first thing off the rank has been Moodleorg for some time, but now actually happening, I hope. It's the new interface is based on Bootstrap. Moodleorg will have badges. It'll have a lot of cleaned up features. Be a lot simpler. When you first get there, you'll see all the discussions on the front page. It'll work for all languages as well that way. So a bunch of stuff already. A lot of it's done. It's just you can't see it yet. Once the theme's done, it should look a lot more. Moodle.net is the new name for Mooch. You probably noticed. Much as I love the name Mooch, Moodle.net is a little better, wider, and clearly Moodle. But that is the place for all our OER stuff, not only sharing courses now, but even bits of courses. And in the future, I hope, will be a place where you'd find MOOCs, that we'll be able to advertise upcoming courses in a more direct way. So, yeah, Ben, it's only just had a small revamp. It's still due quite a lot more. I'd love to see it when you get there. It goes, here are some courses starting next week, right? And then you go off to those courses. So we need to improve the information. All these other stuff have been progressing in all the other areas. Moodle Docs, we're producing videos slowly. The integration team are continuously improving the automation of our system. We're already, and maybe you saw some of that from Dan this morning if you saw Dan, but we already do quite a lot of automated testing. The plan is to just increase that and increase it so that Moodle almost compiles itself. But I think we basically want it so robust that anytime if a bug is made accidentally by somebody, it gets caught well before it gets out to anybody. Probably better. Okay, Moodle 2.5. So if you haven't heard about Moodle 2.5, I don't know why you're here. You obviously have some idea of what all the features are, and you've been having fun playing with them on iMoot. I talk all about these, but I will, but I think it's probably easier if I just get a site up. So I spent a bit of time this afternoon setting up a demo site to play with for you. So let's show that. So I probably don't want to share this. bigger. Sorry, getting there. Okay. All right, so you should be seeing a little website. I'm toying with the idea of making this a real site actually with some real courses. Hobby. So what we're looking at is Moodle 2.5 running the clean theme. So it's just one of the default themes, and I've used the settings available to do a bit of customization on it. Let me just stuff. You know what Bootstrap does as you make things smaller. So on a tablet or a very small phone screen, it collapses like that. Blocks go down the bottom. Menu at the top becomes a drop down. I cheated a bit with this edit my profile in the menu. I hard coded that. That's a link to the generic profile link. If you leave out the user ID, it will just use your current user ID. I really strongly believe we need this link standard in Moodle up the top, but that's another thing. So I faked it a bit for now. But I haven't done any changes at any low level or anything. It's all just been through the interface. Right, so Greg just noticed these images. Now that's a feature in the in Moodle 2.5. Let me go into one of these courses. Logging stuff popping up. And you look in the settings now. And there's these things called course summary files. Now, if you upload an image into there, it'll be shown as you saw under the courses, so you can really pretty up the course listing. But if you put other types of files, like say a PDF, those files are served to the outside world with no protection. So if you want to have an overview of the course and you want to say, you know, here's the unit outline or handout to help you decide to join the course, you can put a whole bunch of files here and they appear as a listing. Let me just give you an example. I'll just grab some random PDF. Random. What? One file? There's something wrong with that. Should be more files. I'm sure it's more files. It was. Okay. It's not. There may be a setting somewhere for that. Anyway, if I get rid of that image and put a PDF, it'll work, but I'm not going. So that's that. While we're here, let's look at this form. This is one of the other new features is the short forms that make the whole thing a bit less scary. So now when you look at course settings, you don't see so much, right? You just see the first basic ones, description, and that's it. All of the scary stuff is hidden down here, and if you want to go into it, you can. So, weird things in Firefox. I never use Firefox usually. It's all here. You don't have to click on it one by one. You can hit expand all, and then you see all the old form, how it used to be. So that's pretty cool, I think. I think that works pretty well. And it immediately simplified all the forms that we have. It just makes Moodle overall look less rubbish. So go back out here. Does anybody notice something else on the front page that might be interesting about this thing? Point something out. Yes, SVGs don't work. I actually was trying to upload SVGs. These were SVGs. By the way, these icons I got are from a very nice project called the Noun Project. And if you need quick images, it's a pretty nice place to find them. Yeah, they're SVG images. Did the dock and undock buttons change? Well, yes, there is no docking here at the moment. And that's still a contentious issue. Some people don't want docking at all. So currently we don't have docking on at all in Clean. I know you do. A lot of people want docking, and to be honest, I thought docking got into 2.5, but I suspect it didn't in the end. So that's actually really a missing feature of this theme. However, with the new stuff happening in 2.6, it's likely it'll replace docking. Richard, I thought it did too, and I'm just become aware that it's not. Settings there, I'm almost certain. Yeah, well, Bass, you might want to answer that because I don't think you like docking and you were fighting against it, so you can answer that, I won't. See, I'll put that onto Bass. These are the features though in Clean. There's a few basic settings that make it quite useful out of the box. There's one here that just swaps the top here from black to white. Fairly simple little change. There is the ability to upload a logo, which is very cool thing. And so that let me upload this logo up the top here, which took me probably about a minute and a half to do in Photoshop, and just dragged it in there and quickly give the site something a little bit different. You can write any custom CSS you want, so you could write CSS here to change a few background colors and so on. And you can put a footnote, which is just at the bottom of the page. And so for a basic site, I think the Clean theme has enough features to sort of get going, and is pretty good. Now, the best thing about the Clean theme is it's really been intended to be a template. So if you want to make your own theme, the best thing to do is to just copy the Clean theme and then start editing that. It will take on all the same inheritance of the Bootstrap-based theme. Then, of course, you can add all your own things onto it. This theme has very, very few features of its own. Really just showing you Bootstrap. Okay. Now, another thing we should mention while we're here is this is the new course listings. Now, they don't look too different probably in this form, but what's new is that these course listings are now completely consistent in all places that courses appear. So if I go to probably not a good example. Go to the main thing. I don't think there's a link to it anymore. So this is the /course page, in fact, but it's exactly the same listing. It looks the same. And there are some new features too. Let me go into the settings. We change this to a combo list. Then you see the slightly new layout here. Now, doesn't look so interesting when we've only got 5 courses, but if you have thousands of courses, all of this works a lot better now than it used to. The course listings are much up. And because they use the same HTML and CSS everywhere they appear, theming of it is much well, you only have to do it once rather than lots of different times, different ways. Okay, what's next? Let's look at badges. You've been playing with badges on the iMoot site, I guess. In fact, you'll get a badge for just being where you are right now from my course. This is what the badges look like. So if we go into Manage Badges, see there are no badges right now. So let's add a new one. So adding a badge, give it a name. And let's get a file. I'll drag one in. Looked earlier. Me. Now, this is a bit of an interesting thing here that you can put in any contact you like there, and is the issuer. You know, I could really just say I'm Harvard. You know. And there's no checking of this, right? That is unfortunately a limitation of the Open Badges standard. So we were talking about how we can restrict it in this case. We've decided to just let people, to trust people to do what they want and not restrict them. If you want to pretend you're Harvard University, go right ahead and you can wear the consequences. So I'll create the badge. The next step is you have some criteria. Now this set of criteria will evolve over time. Currently we've just got some few that really work quite well already, but in future, especially when outcomes come along, you'll be able to get badges assigned automatically when you achieve a certain competency. So that would be pretty nice. So let's say a manual issued by role. Let these roles assign it. The very interesting feature is you've got any and all. So if you've got a badge that requires a teacher and a coordinator to approve that badge, then you can actually do so. So that allows you to build a little bit of workflow in this process. But I'll just leave it on any. The last step is you need to enable access. Once you've done that, and once you start issuing badges, you can't change them after the fact. So you have to be pretty sure that a badge is correct. So that's why there's the extra step for enabling it. So yeah, really think about your badges. Get them, because once you've issued them, the user will take them. They can put them into their backpack system, which is an external repository for badges, or they can take the image itself and put it on any website they like. The image itself contains metadata connected with the badge stuff. It's not really clear now how we're going to be using that, but presumably the badge can be authenticated later on. So even if you send it to your mum in an email or put it on your online CV or post it on Facebook, it still contains that metadata and see who the issuer of the badge is. And badges will be, from the questions there, will be in Mahara. At least Mahara said they were planning to do it. So that's, as soon as that happens, I assume Moodle will also be able to push straight to Mahara. Okay, so that. And does a quick check that the if anybody already meets the criteria, whatever it was, then they get the badge in instantly at this point. But in case you haven't seen a fleshed out system in my little here, if we go to my badges, so your badges, when you get earned, get given to you, appear there. And if you've got badges on other websites, they appear there. Has anyone seen what the other websites look like? Currently, there's only one, really. There's backpack at openbadges.org. Once you've connected to it as a user, you can then push the badges from here to your collection on that website. And vice versa, it will show badges on your collection here in Moodle. Click here, it'll take me to the badges website. See all my privacy checks popping up here. And two badges that I earlier. So I have a new one. So let's see and presenter. Lost the link. So what was the one I was missing? Squirrel. Did I have communication already pushed out there? I will soon find out. The one with backpack bounces off to this website. Get the idea. So that means your backpack becomes where you collect badges from all over the place. So if other sites take up this idea, and I really hope they will now that Moodle's got it, and we will be making a bit of noise about this soon, that more and more places will support them. On their Open Badges site, they've already got a list of a bunch of places that are creating badges. But the point is that you do various activities on various sites, and you still get these standard badges, and you're able to either push them directly, like Moodle can do, or you can just download the image and upload it yourself into Open Badges. And it knows it's a badge because of the metadata, and it all gets added together. So that's because it's open, you don't, in future, there won't be just the Mozilla's backpack. There'll be other places where you might want to. All right, so Any other questions? Sorry, that was a bit ad hoc. I probably could have said that better. Will Moodle create a backpack? No. I don't think we're going to be collecting badges. I guess anyone could write a plugin for that in future, but it's not really on the plans. Revocation. I can't answer that. It's yeah, it's an interesting thought. I didn't realize it was part of the spec at the moment. Is it, Randy? It seems to be very much still in development. The spec. Yeah, have a look because I haven't heard about revocation. We definitely have expiry, so and we can do that. Moodle badges can have an expiry date. Some of the things we're planning to do with Moodle.org is add badges for particularly helpful Moodler in a particular year. So if you're a particularly helpful Moodler for 2013, like if the algorithm works out that you are, then you'll get a badge issued automatically by algorithm and get one every year that you're a particularly helpful Moodler. Also, the Moodle course creator certificates. When the sites team gets around to rehashing that site, then as well as the PDFs, we already generate, which are signed, we will also be generating badges from there. We'll do it retrospectively as well because we have a big data. Oh, hi, Stuart. Didn't see you there. Any other questions? Show a couple more things. So let's go into a course. So one of the new things that was added was the ability to drag and drop labels. Wow, gosh, I haven't used Firefox really had it all really for about a year. Very American news. So let's just grab some text here. I can drop it into the Moodle site. So now it's saying you want to add a label to the course page, or you want to create a new page resource. They add a label. And now that bit of text, which was very badly cut and paste, is now straight away as a label. So you can go a little bit nuts with this. Let me get a picture. Dog. Drag my dog here into the page. You've got a choice of adding the image to the course page or creating a file resource. Well, I think everyone needs to see my dog all the time, so let's put him in there. So the dog has been added as a new label as well. So with yes, that may or may not work on all browsers. You might need to experiment a little. Also, Richard, I think there's a setting, and yes, that is a Moodle, in fact. It's a Maltese poo. I know. It was a joke, and then it went real. You can go pretty nuts now, building courses quite fast with all the drag and drop. So I think that's still quite a nice argument for using desktops, even though we are propelled towards a mobile future. And I don't know about the problem in IE, but and of course we still have all the old stuff. I'm just dragging a movie in here. Did you notice the progress bar? That straight away makes the movie a course. Well, here's a better movie. Oh. So yeah, it's pretty easy. The problem is that it's also easier to make complete junk courses. However, at least if the problems of getting this stuff together are taken away, people can spend more time thinking about the design of their courses, I hope. Now, one other thing here that's new is, let's look at the folders. If I go to add folder resource, which has been around a long time, I'm making my folder. While we're here, you can see this other new feature. The editor is collapsible. This is a little bit temporary, actually. I don't like the way it's so small. I don't think most people do. It's an all or nothing thing. Like, it hides all the buttons or it shows all the buttons. And we basically, I think there's a consensus now that a better way to do this would be to have, when it's collapsed, to just show one row of really basic, obvious buttons. So bold, italic, maybe font, and the file picker button. A couple of things like that. And then when you expand it, it shows you the full thing. Because there's no reason not to have a little editor there. But that didn't quite make 2.5 and will probably be in 2.6. But this is still pretty cool in that you can go ahead and start typing without any buttons in the way and go to them if you need them. Usually the case. I'll drag a bunch of files into the folder. Word document that I called Word document. You now have this option to show it inline on the course page. And small feature, but it could be quite useful. So if I save and go back to the course, then you can now see in the middle of the course, you've got the folder displayed here. It's collapsible part of the course here. So that can be quite useful. Now, obviously, it contributes to the scroll of death, but if you're using the feature that I have actually multiple topics, one topic per page, then it's pretty cool. So I really think there can be some really good. We're coming up for time. Are there any more questions? I don't know how long this is supposed to go, actually. Was it an hour? I assumed it was an hour, but I can talk longer. Has anyone got any questions or want me to talk about anything else? Two more things on the list there on the slide. One is about assignments. The other one's about BHAT integration, which I can't show you right now, but I can talk about it. Rebecca, Subpage. Well, in core, it's a very cool module. the main thing about Subpage is it can be confusing if you're trying to do something simple, particularly when you've got a scenario like this where you've got one page per topic already. Adding subpages to that, I think, can confuse. So I'm a little leery of making it a core feature. However, it fits perfectly well as a plugin already and dropped in. So if you need it, drop it in. As you know, we've really been working a lot on the plugins installation, and that's actually one thing I did want to show. So let me talk about that. Oh, well, that's not my fault, Tim, if it doesn't. Yeah, well, to me, Subpage feels like it's a hack, right? It's a hack to solve a problem. It's saying, let's have an activity called a subpage. And, so it doesn't seem to fit very well to me, but I could probably be convinced if enough people work. There are quite a lot of other things to look at. The other way of doing it, the proper way to do it, of course, is with a new course format. And with a new course format that supports arbitrary subpages, that would be the proper way to do it. Because then you can have an overall management of maybe 20 pages in your course and the hierarchy of them and all that. Design-wise, that seems to be. Will that be a core format? Gareth is asking. Which format are you talking about? Well, it's not a course format. Yeah, it's an activity module right now. I don't know, it needs to be thought through. And right now, we're very focused on mobile stuff right now. And adding more complexity in the courses in core could doom us in future. So I'd rather take it easy personally. But if there's just a couple of hooks to add to make it work better, then we can probably do that too. I was showing the plugin stuff. So if we go to the, let's see, plugins page, installing add-ons, then this is what the new plugins install page looks like. It's in two parts. One is the easy way, and the other one is the only slightly less easy way. So let's do it the easy way first. We go install add-ons from Moodle plugins. So let's click on that. Takes you to Moodle.org. You need to be logged in. Thanks, Wendy. Got that. And you're now looking at our, well, admittedly fairly horrible looking space that will look better soon, I really hope. When you're logged in, you'll notice there's a new feature here, My Sites. And the first time you hit the button that I just hit, it will actually pass to Moodle.org the name of your site, the URL of your site, and it will add it to this list. You don't, which is here, this is my site that I was using before. If you don't like that, delete it and don't use that button. But having it added like this means that it's, you now have a list of your sites that you look after, that feature. And it means that Moodle can do some nice things. So let's go and look in the activities. And does anybody want to suggest a nice activity I should install? Work on 2.5, that's all. And you'll be able to see that because I've got 2.5 selected on the top menu, it's only showing me download buttons for 2.5 things. That one looks like it's going to be software, not so interesting. Big blue button. Go. Right. So I can hit download, which will do what it always did. It'll give me a zip file, and that's fine. But because I have connected my site now to Moodle.org, just simply with the name, I can do this. I hit install. It asks me which of my sites I want to install it to. If you only have one in the list, then it skips this step. Or I think maybe not, because you can add them here if you know some other site you want to add it to. Anyway, you can add your site at any time. But let's go ahead with the install. And I was bounced back to my site. Now, there's been no information passed between the sites yet, really. All it's done is it's redirected in the browser, and in the URL, codes in there that tell my Moodle site what's going on. And then it can talk back to Moodle.org to download later. So let's go continue. So I'm warned about which browser I'm about to install. I go which plugin. Go continue. Moodle does a check. It looks at the package and makes sure the name's okay, the versions are compatible. It gives me a little warning here because this is not a, according to the Fred anyway, not a production quality plugin. However, I think we're all using it pretty well and it's working quite well. So it's only a warning, and if the developer decides to give it the maturity level that they think it's a release, then you don't have a warning there. But that's so to help prevent you installing stuff that might be just for testing and right, Fred. So yeah, so that you don't install anything that's possibly dangerous. Now, of course, you can still install stuff that's dangerous, but that's up to you. We are just trying to do our best to give you some checks. It does here at the end a write check, and what it's checking is because it knows this is a module and belongs in the mod directory, that directory has to be open for writing. That's a choice you need to make for security versus ease of use. There is no real security problem in making that writable, except that there possibly is. If you have a pretty well secured system, then I think the ease of updating your modules this way may outweigh the fact that it's writable. And that's the choice you need to make. But assuming you have made it writable, you can continue at this point, and I have. So we go install. And the zip gets unpacked. Yes, good point, Randy. You can actually just turn it on temporarily and then turn it off again afterwards. Okay, so the zip file has been unpacked, but now it does the normal Moodle install. So it goes straight to the list where it says there's this thing that needs installing and through. Modules installed. And we're taken straight to the settings. Defaults there, thanks Fred. Voila. So I'm pretty happy about that. This was the third stage of the plugins project. So first we made the plugins do just basic checking, then updating, and now installing. We'll continue to improve it in the future. We are getting stricter with the plugin quality. At this rate, we'll end up like the Apple Store, but I think it's all for a good cause to make this process very reliable, so that you feel safe about uploading, installing stuff. But of course, the same caveats always apply. It's still always open source, multiple authors, and we can't check every single line of every single plugin. But eventually, the plugins database will have a lot more, I hope, reviews and feedback. So if any one person discovers some problem, everyone else can find out about it straight away. So, yeah, Gareth, how much will code checker be applied? That's one of the things that we have talked about. At the moment, it's only checking that certain things that have to be there, such as a version.php file and version numbers. It's now required to have version numbers. It wasn't before for things like themes. We'll continue tweaking and adjusting that, but the better the code is, the longer it lasts, the less problems everybody has. Yeah, so we'll keep working on that. Ongoing, but it's definitely all about building an ecosystem. Ultimately, this is what I would love to see, is that a developer is coding away at home, they finish their plugin, they think it's looking good, they press push to Git, it gets pushed off to GitHub, and automatically all the packaging and rolling and putting it into the plugins database will just happen. Plugins will see it, it'll detect that it's a stable version, it'll mark it as such, and anyone who has that module will then get notifications saying there's a new version of this module. So if we can automate that, then fixes will flow through the ecosystem much quicker, and we'll have a lot less of the situation now where people are afraid to upgrade because yeah, and there's no plans for that, Gareth. Yeah. Bass, the thing is, you would, to make it take effect on Moodle, if you're a trusted developer who we realize knows what they're doing, we will be looking at, say, your version file. So if you make minor changes, that's no problem, but then nothing will happen. But if you change the version number and you say it's a stable version, then that's when plugins can act on it, you see. That's how you'll tell plugins to work. Okay. Well, I haven't got too much time. Any other questions, or does anybody want to speak? Discuss anything?
Hi, this is Vinny again from Pukunui. Thank you, Martin. That was great, as always. The next presentation starts in about 25 minutes. So if anybody has got a couple of quick questions for Martin, we've got a few minutes left.
Well, I had my last slide that I wanted to plug, actually. The next Moodle Research Conference is coming up. It'll be in Tunisia in October, and that should be pretty interesting. The point of that conference, of course, is to promote research, and I think they're going to be pretty interested in all of the new data stuff that's coming with the logging. I would really like our development to be more data-driven as we go into the future, so that the Moodle features that we build are things that really help, are possibly even things we can't imagine or design right now. But if we have good data, I think the researchers will be able to tell us good directions to go. And there really is what makes Moodle different, I think, from platforms that we could use. Yeah, it's a pretty nice place. No argument. It's always helps to have a nice place to draw people in. No, not quite as attractive saying, hey, come on down to this little hovel in the back of a pub somewhere in some city you never heard of. Doesn't really get people going, unfortunately. Well, a pub might work for some. The conference is really for people publishing the papers, but we're not going to stop anyone else coming along just to be involved. Absolutely not. So there's that. But yeah, I'm very, particularly, someone asked about the future beyond 2.6. I really think those two things, mobile and analytics, is where we'll keep going with mobile stuff. You know, the interface on mobile should be so so simple, and all of us know what a good interface feels like. We all use these interfaces on our mobiles. You know what I'm talking about. That's how our learning systems should work. And notifications has to be really good. I'm really a believer in computer-aided teaching and computer-aided learning. I want Moodle to be quite intelligently feeding you the information you need at a particular time. So if you have to do something to learn or to teach, Moodle should just give you that reminder and say, now's a good time. And maybe give you an indication of how urgent it is. So that you can then tune that feed to exactly what you need and the way you like it. And for those two things, you need mobile to be really good and analytics to be really good. They have to work together, and I really think that's where our focus will be for a while. Yeah, well, Gareth, targeted, directed, order, customized learning. I worry a bit about those terms only because they start sounding like artificial intelligence, and I'm not interested in that at all. I love teachers, and I think teachers need to be given the tools to be really good teachers. So I really focus on computer-aided teaching, not artificial intelligent teaching, not auto. I don't want to adjust course material so much, but it's really about making teachers be very efficient, and giving them the power to be to look after lots of people in a very high quality way. That's really where the focus is. Because I think teachers now spend a lot of time losing files and dealing with crappy technology that doesn't work with other pieces of crappy technology. As do we all, and it's about making that as easy as we can, so it gets out the way, and we can focus on what it is we're trying to do for the future. You know, who are we bringing up people to be, and why are we teaching them? Yeah, well, agreed. I mean, there's just there is a lot. There's always been people interested in automated stuff. There always will be, and I think that's good to have in the background. But it's not. There are 7 billion people on the planet. I don't see why we should automate everything. We have people who love doing that stuff. I won't get into the MOOC discussion, although maybe I did before. I really think Moodle.net would be a nice place for people to advertise their Moodle-based MOOCs, because there's nothing to say that Moodle can't be where you run your MOOC. MOOCs aren't going to replace everything. They're going to be something you do maybe for advertising or for, to promote your institution. You might have some MOOCs that give people a taste of it. Or if you do it as your main thing, then more power to you. But I think Moodle makes a pretty good platform there. Certainly the basic stuff is very easy to do, and we have a lot of advanced plugins and advanced activities that really extend it further. So, Gareth, yes, again, the question about optimizing Moodle, that's what that back-end team is all about. It's about performance, it's about speed, it's about making Moodle more flexible in the kind of environments that are around now, as opposed to when Moodle was developed originally and everyone ran their own server. That's less and less becoming. So definitely focused on. Okay, I better wrap up and let Ben get on and everyone else on the next session. So thanks a lot for coming and for the chat, and we'll see you around Moodle World. Thanks all.
Well, thank you very much, Martin.
See ya.
So if there's any more questions or comments, maybe carry those on in the discussion forum that goes along with this Keynote presentation. Thank you for all participating.